Distinguished delegates of the World Future Council, ladies and gentlemen, warm greetings from the United Nations in New York. I'm really pleased to know that so many parliamentarians, policymakers, and governmental representatives from Central and East Africa are gathered here today for this Inter-Parliamentary regional hearing. It's a real privilege for me to address you at this important event, and I truly regret that I was not able to join you in person due to prior commitments. I would like to express my sincere gratitude to the World Future Council for convening this event and to the government of the Republic of Tanzania, in particular the Ministry of Natural Resources and Tourism and the Tanzania Forest Services Agency for your support in making this event possible. In celebration of the International Year of Forests, which was held in 2011, when people and governments around the globe celebrated the theme of Forests for People, the World Future Council presented the Future Policy Award to countries which had exemplary policies on sustainable forest management. This is a very high-profile way to both recognize excellence and to facilitate duplication of these governments' policies with other governments. I had the honor of being part of the jury, which reviewed many creative and successful policy initiatives from around the world, and we were delighted to grant the Golden Award to the National Forest Policy of Rwanda and the Silver Award to the Community Forest Policy of the Gambia. In 2012, following up on the initiatives by the World Future Council to promote outstanding forest policy, parliamentarians, policymakers, and experts from the Central African region made their commitments through the Kigali Declaration on Forests for People, the objective of which was to preserve and advance the social, economic, and environmental values of forests and trees. This year, your Inter-Parliamentary regional hearing hosted by Tanzania will focus on national forest laws. I am extremely pleased to see the strong commitments by your governments in this regard. The United Nations Forum on Forests, which is the only intergovernmental body in the United Nations whose focus is solely on forests, concluded its 10th session in April of this year in Istanbul, Turkey. The focus of the UNFF's two-week meeting of delegates from all over the world was on financing for forests, how countries of all sizes and levels of economic development can support and preserve the multiple benefits stemming from sustainably managed forests. I'm pleased to report to you that the session was a tremendous success. We had more than 600 press, film, and social media stories circulated worldwide during the forum's 2 weeks. Prime ministers, a vice president, ministers, vice ministers, and the president of the United Nations Economic and Social Council attended, and major groups of like-minded people, as well as members of the public, the private sector, were also there. The meeting had over 3,500 participants and almost 1,350 delegates from 135 countries who came together in Istanbul to discuss these critical issues relating to economic development and forests. UNFF 10 reached agreement on an historic decision on financing of sustainable forest management with the recognition of the multifaceted contributions of forest to economic development. This was a first kind of work in this area. Not much has been done before, but what concluded from the UNFF 10 was a clear roadmap which outlines the steps for a deliberate review of policies and institutions related to forests after 2015. And we're in the process right now of developing the steps to set up that review. The outcome of UNFF 10 demonstrates people's political commitment to strengthen support for their forests' irreplaceable benefits. At UNFF 10, countries came to a deeper understanding of forests' contributions to economic development, as I said earlier, and thus emphasizing the well-being of their people. A greater recognition of monetary and non-monetary values of forests and their financing was seen by these countries as vital to many of the most pressing global sustainable development challenges, including disaster risk reduction, where forests play a major role, for example. These discussions recognized and underscored the connections between forests and agriculture, rural development, water, energy, climate change, and human health, just to name a few. Ladies and gentlemen, as land use planning adapts to meet growing demands for food, energy, and water, governments recognize that comprehensive landscape-level planning at national and subnational levels will matter far more in the future. Action on a wide range of critical issues is encouraged by this decision, including improving data collection and analysis and reporting on forest goods and services, identifying challenges related to financing, monitoring and reporting in the implementation of the non-legally binding instrument on all types of forests, we call the Forest Instrument, which is the first ever multilateral agreement for sustainable forest management agreed to at UNFF 7. And these actions focus on strengthening linkages and integrated approaches to land management. Financial institutions were also invited to contribute to these decisions and to in the implementation of these decisions, but also to further simplify their procedures so as to improve access to and efficiency in the use of their funding for forests. A good example in the decision is the request that the Global Environment Facility, the GEF, consider establishing a new focal area on forests during its next replenishment period. The forum also invites special consideration for developing countries, especially least developed countries and those with dryland forests, and including the special needs of low forest cover countries, small island developing states, high forest cover countries, and Africa in particular, in accessing funds for sustainable forest management. So this provides a great basis for your discussion at this parliamentarian hearing. These actions will all require increasing cooperation and collaboration for our mutual work so that the full range of goods and services from forests and trees are better understood by your governments, by political leaders, by the people in your countries, and to recognize the links between forests and other sectors to better inform policy, regulation, and government and private sector institutional change. This is really a new way of working together, and I'm sure you will agree that now is the time to start effecting change at a large-scale level or a landscape level. Congratulations once again on the inspiring progress you are making for forests and for the people of Africa. I wish you a very successful meeting and a constructive outcome which shapes a sustainable future for forests and trees. Thank you very much.